Welcome to Section 31, episode number 366. I'm Dan Hammond.
And I am Rogue Schindler.
This week, we are confused.
Very confused.
We were discussing what to talk about, and we noticed that there was a new set online. The Warp Pack released it's like a week or two ago. And this is a 2E set.
I'm so confused. I opened it up and I was looking at the pictures and I was like, oh, that's cool, Cisco. And stuff. I'm like, what is this template? Looks weird. What's going on here? I'm like, this is a 2E card.
Yeah.
The Warp Packs.
Card number 3. There you go.
Do
you see what card number 3 is?
Card number 3. Bait and switch. That's exactly what happened. I was baiting, and then I got switched on, and now Khan is laughing at me in his moment of triumph.
Really? Wow.
Yep, right there.
That's terrible. Just the name recurring. There's a lot of brightly colored cards. I like that. And we got a Personnel of the Devil. That's kind of cool. I thought that we're stepping away from. Well, okay. I guess this is not. I was gonna say stepping away from non-aligned generic prevention, but this is not non-aligned generic prevention. It is a non-aligned personnel with 3 treachery.
Triple. He's gonna triple cross you.
They really should have made his integrity 6 and then had something in his game text that says his integrity -6.
Yes, that's absolutely what should have happened.
But you can't play it. Well, you can play it in any deck, but you can only use the interrupt prevention if you have a holo program to place him on top of.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So it's helpful for a very specific deck.
And wow, all right. So now, that said, we look a little farther. The name of the set is Access Denied. This is all about canceling things. The reprimand is 50-point missions. You can cancel something. Chell, it's DS9, Federation Voyager. Oh, he's Treachery guy, so that works well in the Equinox as well. Dissident, Borg Dissident. So there's a lot of interesting things here. All right, perfect. All right. And
very specific team.
Yeah.
Cancellation.
And that's exactly what I was expecting. That's fantastic. Well
named.
And the actual pack itself is such a brightly colored. Goes well with the bright colors of the cards.
I do really like that pack art.
All right.
And everybody's looking very shifty. The Boolean side eye and the haughty genetically enhanced yours is superior, and the looking down her nose at you, Admiral. Very like, I'm about to cancel your shit.
I see the coming next is all in Klingon, so it wants to translate that. I tried my hand at translating some Klingon once, and the letter L and the letter I got mixed up, so that was a problem. All right, I'm gonna close this up, and so I figured we chat briefly about what's going on with the raffle. There was a large influx of stuff, and I made room for it in the warehouse and divvied out a large chunk of it to put in the raffle. So if you go check, there's a lot of sealed product. So there are only 1 or 2 cards that were this time. Usually most of the raffle bins are a card. This time I've got sealed Enhanced First Contact, some USS Jupiter sealed in their package, got some Premier packs, Dominion, some Starter Deck 2, a lot of 1E packs, Alternate Universe, Q Continuum, Mirror. There is a box topper clone from Reflections in its packet, and I think it's in its packet. Now I say that I don't remember. It might be out of its packet. But the one down at the bottom there.
$7.97. Ooh.
Yeah. I got 4 of them in the. There's four DS9 packs. It's limited to 1 ticket per person, so we'll give out 4 to 4 different people, assuming that the 1 per person rules are correct there. But anyway, that's a lot of fun
All
stuff.
right. Speaking of the bottom of that list, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
What is a scoring chip?
Yes.
Aside from you keep score with these chips.
Yeah. So that's an interesting problem there. If
It's a
you
broken image.
if you right click on it and then go to view image, it'll show you what it's supposed to be. So someone had a few of these made for the continuing committee. They're little discs about the size of a poker chip, and they have either denominations of 10, 25, and 5. There's 8 of them, and it adds up to 100 points. And so there's a couple 5s, there's a couple 10s, and a couple 25s. So you can keep track of the score. Or, I've got a 5-point bonus on here. I got a 10-point bonus over here to go with to keep track of your missions.
Nice.
50, yeah. So there's 100 points there. So as long as somebody doesn't play a what's it on you, you should be a Phoenix or something. Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Brilliant. So go put your tickets in the bin. This was a small carving of the stuff that I found in these boxes that were left here. There is a lot more. There will be more TUI stuff next time. I only got through a bunch of the stuff. I went past the DS9 packs, past the Dominion and everything else, and I did find a couple of what you leave behind and a couple other random packs in there too. So those will go in next time, and there will be more of what you see here. So if you put your tickets in the bin, if you don't win, there should be more next time. I don't know if everything that I put in this time will be replicated next time, but I've got a lot to give it away. A lot to give away. So take a look and get your tickets in.
Nice.
Do you want to
give me one of those Deep Space Nine packs?
Yeah, I mean, it's just fun to open. I mean, it's been quite a while. You want to talk briefly?
I would get a Gamma Quadrant rare mission. Yes, I would like to talk briefly about what I think you're going to say.
Yeah.
Which is the power of our intelligence network.
Yeah.
Spread the word.
On the last show, we complained about a lot of things.
A lot of things.
A lot of things.
Somehow, through all of that static, one of our messages got through. Perhaps the most important message.
Yeah. One of our faithful listeners forwarded our show to someone who is on the board of directors or up at least one of the volunteer coordinators, I think, for True Dungeon, and they got a hold of us and wanted to arrange a chat. I did hit record on the audio. I figured at some point, if I have time, we can break it up a little bit and kind of set up some of the questions and then talk about some of their answers. But the gist was there was some apologies. We got to vent for quite a long time. I think we were on the line with them for about an hour at least.
About 90 minutes, actually.
90 minutes, yeah. So all 4 of us who went to Gen Con together and did the game together got to express everything we wanted to complain about, and they patiently listened to us. And unlike the guy at the show, we felt like they were very what would you say?
There's a specific word that I would use for it, and it's escaping me at the moment. But I would say they were very carefully. They were very receptive. They were very apologetic, but in a non pacifistic way. They weren't clearly just trying to get us to be happy and go away. They actually asked questions about our concerns, which led me to believe that they were actually interested in what specifically happened and what needed to be fixed. And they actually solicited our feedback on a number of other things that were not directly related to the problem we had, which was the crappy GM. But while we were talking about it, we had a lot of other concerns that probably wouldn't have sunk our experience the way that GM did, but they were non-optimal. And while we were talking about it, we're like, hey, while you're here, here's this idea and that idea, and this probably could have been better, and this has always happened when I've come here, and it's never right. And so it it was great because and they were upset too because they wrote that puzzle. It was
That's right.
I believe John, who was the volunteer coordinator, and Mike, who was the VP of operations or director of operations. I might have had the name switched and the role switched, but they were long-time True Dungeon volunteers turn employees, and it was clear that they cared a lot about the fact that we had a negative play experience and that they wanted to rectify that, which was great. And the big thing, I think for me, that got confirmed that made me even more mad, but in a righteous sort of way, and happy that they were talking to us, was that the only report that they got about our thing before our podcast was one of the first line supervisors like, oh yeah, there were some people that were kind of upset. I gave them some treasure. They seemed okay, which is exactly what we were afraid was going to happen. They were going to go back. They weren't going to report the guy. They were just going to try to smooth everything over and do business as usual. So I was very happy that they got in touch with you and thus through us so that we could say, this guy needs to not be, dealing with the public.
Yeah, I came away with the conversation felt like they listened to what we had to say. I felt like they were going to at least act on some of the suggestions, and it went on longer than I expected. They're on the East Coast, so they started at midnight, and we were, like I said, it was well past 1:00 their time when we finished. But they certainly let us speak our piece, and we had a great conversation, I think.
Yeah, they were very receptive, and they admitted, I hesitate to mention this because it's not, I don't want to be like, haha, we got what we wanted, a free trip. But that really is the really only way to rectify a situation like that. Is we paid a lot of money for that price point for a game like that is a big investment to get something that is a crapshoot, like a hit or miss. Like, I wouldn't play those odds at Vegas. Why would I do it at a game con where I'm not expecting to be playing odds? I'm expecting to get what I pay for. And so the only way, you don't throw treasure at me and hope I'm going to come back. Oh, well, I have treasure now. I have to come play it back and use it. No, like if you ever want that person to come back after a crappy experience, they can't have, they need to not have to pay for it. If you want a person to come back after a terrible restaurant experience, you better give them some gift certificates and comp their their next meal, or they have no reason to come back to you after a crappy experience. And that's what they offered, if we are ever in town. But they also solicited, after our advice, our volunteer, which I was like, that was unexpected. But also kind of a nice compliment about the level of feedback we had to offer. And given my lack of con schedule for the coming year, it's something I might consider.
That's interesting. I mean, I don't think I would, just because I feel like I'm past that. When I go to a con, I don't want to work. But
yeah,
that is the offer to kind of wander around behind the scenes and see how the stuff works. That I would take up, certainly.
that was very cool.
Yeah,
and I'm right there with you. Largely, if I were already going to a con, I would not want to then go and volunteer. We kind of had that discussion earlier about what compensation is worth the level of or the amount of con that you'll be missing, and generally it's insufficient.
exactly.
I want to enjoy the con, but if it were a con I would be otherwise unable to go to, then
it's all a bonus, right?
It's all a bonus. So that's where I'm like, well, this might be worth consideration.
Fair enough. So speaking of True Dungeon, I was cleaning up my an office bin outside. I don't know why this was in there, but I got an old token here. So they used to give these out, I think, in the bags, right?
Yep.
Best 4 days of gaming, 2010. I got two 2010s and a pile of 2011s. So I figure The next time I'm playing the wizard and I don't have a weapon, I'm gonna put this in my puck because it gets that extra that little extra weight.
And have the guy be like, "What?"
Yeah, what? Oh, there was one other thing I found. Check this out. Do you remember this?
Wow,
This is a
yeah.
giant, huge mouse pad that I used at the office forever because it was a giant, huge mouse pad. And it's from from wars, obviously. Uh, Man, I can't believe I haven't been using this, but I put it back here so I could see it. Anyway,
Well, since we're talking
uh,
about random gaming accessories that we
yeah.
found, I was at ease for our weekly ECG league, and they had a table of random free gaming accessories. And
What
I was
the
like,
heck is that?
I don't play this, but it's a top-down schematic of Deep Space Nine for the Attack Wing minis game, and the other side is Terok Nor.
That's hilarious. It's
And I
so
was
clever.
like,
Yeah.
do not need this for, but it is so cool, and they're just giving them away that I have to grab one of these, and I'm sure, at some point will make its way into a role-playing game or a miniatures game of some kind.
I I like that as a gaming accessory for that. So you don't have the huge. I mean, having a huge DS9 would be awesome, but that's
Right.
certainly a lot easier to just throw it on the board and it's got all the details on it. That's cool. I like that.
Yeah. And if you're thinking about it like Artemis, where maybe it's not actually a game piece on somebody's side, but it's just out there as an obstacle or something that you go and dock at and then need to leave. That's a great game piece to occupy that space.
Yeah, like the side of a map, something to do over there while you're. Yeah, that's cool. I like it. Uh, Excellent. All right. We talked so much about the con last time. I don't feel like we have much to talk about this time. We've been through a few topics. Have anything else?
No, and I think it's probably good to give our listeners a break. We could probably hit Comic-Con a little bit, but honestly, I spent most of it wandering around with my daughter in costume together, which was a lot of fun, but not a lot to report on. In fact, I mostly hit the highlights and everything. But so I feel like that's probably all of our intelligence after our 2-hour show last week.
Very good. Coming up on the calendar is Dragon Con, but you're not going this year, right?
Nope, I am. I'm conned out until January, unless potentially we go to something like local, like Long Beach Comic Con in September.
Well, it's been a while since you've been here for Labor Day. We should actually do something over the long weekend. Get a run to Gloomhaven Inn or something.
Yeah, that would be cool. Caitlin is definitely going to a dance competition that is every Labor Day that she never gets to go to because it's every Labor Day.
Nice.
But yep, Laura and I can go roaming.
All right, then we'll report back on that. That's a couple of weeks away. I don't know that we have much on our horizon except for something around a Tribbles or something, so we'll keep posted on that.
All right. That's all the intelligence we have for this week. You need more intelligence, you can go back and listen to more of our show from last week. In the meantime, I'm Sir Rogue.
I'm Sir Dan.
And I will remind you all to expand your power in the universe.
And I will draw to end.